Welcome to the lightning lesson number 3 in our series from AgileCxO. I'm Jeff Dalton, Chief Evangelist from AgileCxO.org. We're the research and development organization that provides the Agile Performance Hierarchy, training, and certifications for Agile leaders. Today I'll be talking about some of the things Agile leaders need to know in order to successfully work with business partners to define products and services. In lightning lesson number 1, we talked a little bit about values, how to project them, and how they need to trace to how the work gets done, to the frameworks, the ceremonies, and the techniques. In lesson number 2, we covered what Agile leaders needed to provide so that their teams can be more successful. Today, in lesson number 3, we're talking about product vision and how to work with business partners to successfully deliver a solution, and I call this envisioning. There are 2 components to envisioning that I'll be covering in today's lesson: road mapping and defining the solution. Road mapping focuses on the product strategy and defines major functionality, scheduling, and resourcing. Road mapping is a collaborative set of events, and in order to be successful, you're going to need a number of different stakeholders to participate. They are business leaders who provide strategy, funding, and prioritization that's needed for their company to successfully deliver a winning solution. You'll need subject matter experts from the business who know the business details of the proposed solution, but these are not solution implementers. These are people who know the precise details of what the solution needs to accomplish and how to work with both the business leaders and those who will be building the solution. One mistake we often see is the assignment of information technology professionals to this role. This allows the business to avoid the important responsibility that is essential in the Agile ecosystem. Not only are these business SMEs the real experts, but they own the responsibility of this, and that reduces the risk for the product teams, who may not have all of the information they need to build a successful product. You'll also need the implementers, the technical experts that can translate the strategy and business processes into implementable solutions, whether they be information technology, software, marketing, business development, training, or just something completely different. Finally, you'll need attendees from marketing, sales, finance, deployment, training, and more in order to get their ideas and their unique perspectives. It's starting to sound like a lot of bureaucracy. Don't worry, we're not building anything yet. We're just road mapping the potential for an approach and getting it all out on the table. We're going to iterate through the roadmap in an agile and incremental way. There is a proven Agile approach to road mapping that is traceable to Agile values such as fail fast, transparency, and collaboration, just like we discussed in lesson number 1, and I'm referring to Open Spaces technology. And Open Spaces is a self-organizing event that is well suited for road mapping, and it's something that you, the Agile leader, need to learn about and use in your organization. Open Spaces was introduced in 1982 by Harrison Owen in his book, Open Space Technology, a User Guide, and it immediately became popular as a tool for collaborative organizational transformation. An Open Spaces agenda is said to be emergent because each stakeholder comes with ideas that they wish to include in the agenda, and attendees self-subscribe to the subject they are most interested in. Preconditions for Open Spaces success include an open, neutral environment, high levels of diversity and chaos to uncover unexpected ideas, living on the edge of chaos and innovation, a universal drive towards improvement, and sparsity of connections to enable self-organization and help avoid preconceived connections and ideas. In a successful Open Spaces, attendees will gravitate towards what's most important to them, and the lower priority items can be considered for deprioritization. During your product road mapping Open Spaces, major features are defined, a release schedule is envisioned, and important risks, issues, and conflicts are revealed. You can learn more about Open Spaces at our site, AgileCxO.org. The second area I'd like to cover is defining the solution. This is a function that should be performed primarily by your business partners who need to clearly and unambiguously define the solution they would like to see you deliver. Many of us who have spent a career in software development may not be used to this. A business customer that participates? In most companies we assess this is almost unheard of. Like any other work processing model, Agile frameworks like Scrum, Extreme Programming, are holistic systems, and if a major component, such as customer participation, is absent, the system will eventually fail. Nowhere in the Agile universe is this more true than in Envisioning. If the business customer isn't a full partner, Agile teams will face an uphill battle. Business partners or customers own the vision. They are responsible for the funding. They own the priority. Without them, most of the value we expect to get from adopting Agile will never materialize. Even with commercial product development, this is ultimately true. Envisioning any solution is a multi-tiered thought process. We iterate through each tier to incrementally define our user stories. This increases the quality and allows us to fail fast. In Tier 1, the business articulates in common language what they would like to build. Sometimes we just refer to this as the stuff the business needs, or sometimes we call it the vision, maybe sometimes even the hallucination. For Tier 2, we stratify the needs and group together similar items into implementable ideas. We call this level epics. These are high-level pieces of functionality that need to be further decomposed into implementable stories that can be delivered in fixed time boxes. Epics, which are written in traditional user story format, contain a user, a mission, and a business value, and can be sized and prioritized by business subject matter experts. This prioritization will provide an idea as to where the epic falls in the roadmap based on the customer's marketing, financial, and business needs, and will give us a general idea when it needs to be built and delivered, at least based on what we know at the time. Execution on Tier 1 and 2 is primarily the responsibility of the business users, with some assistance by product teams as needed. Tier 3 is when we, the product team, step up to play a larger role. Now that customer needs have been incrementally transformed into epics, it's time to get down to the implementable user stories and tasks. User stories share a common format with epics, one of user, mission, and business value. This format is in itself a type of pre-validation that can help drive out defects, identify features that should be deprioritized, and leads to higher quality products. Another way we can drive out defects in our user stories is to identify some different types of stories you may need and develop a definition of done for each type. These could include functional, technical, regulatory, legal, and more at the user story, child story, and task level. Sort of an architecture within an architecture, if you will. Of course, customers don't often think about these different types of stories, so that's why the product teams need to get involved, even though the business still owns the scope and ROI for the product. Once a substantial enough product backlog has been developed using this collaborative process, the product owner can take possession in order to prioritize stories based on business value, and we're ready to begin. Thank you for joining us for today's lightning lesson on envisioning solutions.
Thank you for attending today's lightning lesson. Please watch your inbox for a link to the next lesson in this series by AgileCxO.org.
We're super excited to invite you to AgileCxO.org's Agile Leadership Summit in Washington, D.C. on September 22nd, 2017. At the Agile Leadership Summit, we'll enjoy lunch and networking with other Agile leaders and hear 6 lightning talks about everything you need to know to lead Agile organizations. So please join us at the Agile Leadership Summit, September 22nd in Washington, D.C.